Hey guys, welcome back to the office. In today's video, I want to talk to you a little bit about 3D printing in dentistry, all right? This is quickly evolving in our industry, and I truly believe that it's going to play a huge part of every single dental office moving forward. So if you're not into it, if you're in the dental field, make sure you start learning as soon as possible because it's a huge, huge world to learn about. And for the patients out there, it creates endless options. And I'm going to show those to you right now. Okay. We're gonna start off with like a perfect example. Let's say you broke your tooth out. You got your buddy's wedding tomorrow. What are you gonna do, right? If you go to the dentist, they might be able to slap something together. But with 3D printing, we can do it so fast. Basically, I just take a 3D scan, design it in CAD, and I can 3D print it out in like 20 minutes and glue it into place, all right? Also, dentures. So you can 3D print dentures. This is a perfect example of a 3D printed denture. They look a lot more realistic than one that's not, like an acrylic one that'll look like this. So let me show you what these two would look like next to each other so you can see how much better these 3D printed ones are. Right here we have an old style acrylic denture, and then this would be like an example of a 3D printed one. These ones are actually stronger, the new ones are, than these old acrylic ones. Let's see what other 3D printing stuff we got up here. Oh, we got this. This is a surgical guide for placing a dental implant that I designed. We've also got a set of temporary teeth that screw into implants. We've also got 3D printed veneers that can go onto your natural teeth without even having to grind them down, which is pretty cool. And then we also have a 3D printed bridge. That would be temporary right there. We also have a 3D printed partial plate, 3D printed teeth. I mean, everything. Most of this stuff up here is 3D printed, which is really cool, but this is a 3D printed dental model of somebody's jaw with 4 implants in it. Let me go show you what this 3D printing setup looks like because it's pretty interesting in itself. All right, so we have 3 different 3D printers here. This is my Bamboo. This is kind of my fun printer that I make car parts on. If I want to design something for the garage, 3D print it out, mock it up, this is it. And the reason why is this filament is really cheap. Each one of these rolls is anywhere from like $10 to $15 and can print a lot of stuff. And then we have our 2 resin printers here. These work completely different. These have vats full of resin, and underneath them is a laser that shines up to cure it on the platform. So it shines the laser up through there into the bottom of this vat right here and onto the bottom of this build plate. So here is a surgical guide that was 3D printed upside down in this 3D printer right here. And this took about an hour to do. After it comes out of this machine, it goes into a wash of isopropyl alcohol, which washes off the excess resin. And then it goes into a light cure like this to make it hard. So they come off pretty easily. You can snap off all these pegs like this. And this surgical guide is ready to be cured and then polished up after. So we just put it in here and hit that. Takes 1 minute and 17 seconds, cures it with an ultraviolet light and heat to make that resin rock solid and ready for patient use.
Oh.
I know, pretty sick.
Off the madness.
We got a bunch of different resins here for the 3D printers. You know, we can do retainers, we can do night guards, we can do models, we can do teeth, we can do denture bases, try-in dentures. We got all kinds of different resins, and these are all cleared by the FDA to use in patients' mouths. Now you might ask, what about coloring? So they really only come in a few different colors as far as printing the resins go, depending on if it's a bleach shade or like a more tooth colored shade. And then what I can do is I can actually paint on custom colors so that they match. In our temporaries, like if somebody busts out a front tooth, I custom paint on the colors and it really becomes almost invisible to the naked eye. They look identical to the natural tooth. So the only downside to these 3D printed temporary materials is they're really just not as strong as like a final. Let me show you what that looks like. The finals like this that are made out of zirconia, they're super hard. I mean, I can hit this with a hammer and it won't break. I've even run this exact prosthetic over with my pickup truck and it didn't break. And then we have an example of the temporary material, and these can crack under a lot of pressure. So big difference here with the milled zirconia piece. These milled ones cost probably $10,000 to $15,000. These cost like $150. So huge difference because we can change these and print these out. These are milled, they're final pieces. These will never come out of the patient's mouth unless there's an emergency or an issue, as they will probably never break. So it's basically like a buy once, cry once type deal. These are the temporaries to kind of train people with, and we can change the teeth along the way, different shapes, sizes, and colors to what they want in their bite. But kind of cool to see them side by side there. Kim and Sam, what do you guys think about 3D printing since we started doing it?
I think it's really awesome.
You guys are doing it at your lab too, right? For models and things like that instead of pouring them in stone?
Yeah.
What do you think, Sam?
I think it's great. I think the patients like it. It's really convenient for them to be able to get a tooth same day.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I wish is that like the materials were a little bit stronger and lasted longer. I feel like we only get max 3 or 4 months out of like a temporary printed and non-X, don't you think?
Yeah.
You want to learn more about it, like how to design stuff, or just more about like printing and processing and finishing over there?
I want to do more. It looks fun.
You want to do more with like those printers over there?
Yes.
Okay, well, we could do that. You want to learn right now?
Sure.
Okay. Here we go. So as you know, we've got our setup over here. This is my fun printer that I kind of monitor, but you hear these machines running constantly. I know you do.
Yes.
So when these stop, I wish they had like a ding or something, but they don't. But really, you'll see it go up and down, and then it comes back up. And then at that point, we have to squeegee off the excess, which I showed you before,
Yes.
and then move it over to here. The problem with this thing is we can't leave them in here overnight, if that makes sense, because the material will get soft.
But then is it just going to say wash completed, just like that?
Yeah, yeah,
And then you
it's
take
pretty
that.
noisy, so you'll hear it stop, you know? And then at that point, you can either break them off, like if it's a surgical guide like this, and throw it in the light cure. And what's cool about this light cure is it has every single resin already laid out, and the times and the heat and everything like that. But I'll show you on the next case that we print on how to do it, so that you can do more with it. But really, all that needs to be done with this is wash it with soapy water. We'll smooth down these little bumps, and then it's ready to go in his box.
So I feel like certain things, when you do it, like when you and the girls do it, that certain products though go straight in there, and then maybe some of them go into this other, like
There's a
the
lot.
glycerin. So that's the thing, like I don't distinctively know between the
The
different
only
products.
time it goes into the vegetable glycerin before it goes into the light cure is usually when I'm painting like a custom color on it, you know, or doing
That's
like a
fun.
high gloss finish. So if you want to learn how to do that, I'll show you how to do it the next case.
Okay. That's
All right.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to try a new print out here. So there's like this new plaid mode on here that it prints super fast.
Oh wow.
So I was going to test it out, and then we can paint one together, and I can walk you through the process.
Okay.
All
That
right.
sounds fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So right now in this one we have our retainer resin, and I know it is because it's kind of clear. And then down here we've got a bunch of other ones. Looks like that's our bleach resin for like really, really white teeth. And then we have a more yellow one. It doesn't end up looking this yellow on the patient, but I'm gonna load this in and we'll get a print going and see how long it takes. We'll compare it to the print we did yesterday. But these printers are super temperamental. You can look at the resin if you get closer here. So we gotta kind of mix it up before we print it. And then it even gets warmed up so that it's more viscous or more fluid-like, so that it can print easier.
Do you have to mix them like that, like
I do
every
first.
time before you print something?
Usually if it's been sitting for a while, I will.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt because otherwise it gets too thick in there, and then the computer will think, and the printer will think that there's something in it, just because. So what we'll do is we'll go down here and we'll preheat the resin. Preheat. And I'll get that print going. We'll see how long it takes, and then I'll show you how to finish it. All right, so this print for this full arch is going to take approximately 23 minutes, and you can see how I set it up on here. It's pretty cool. So just going to print on those little pegs like that. And this is a case that I inherited because this patient is here for the winter and broke her temporary. So I had the lab send me this file over, and we're going to 3D print her a new one because she cracked it. It's pretty cool. So once this printer is done heating up the resin, it will run the file that I sent over to it for what, 20-30 minutes. Once that's done, it'll go on the wash for 15, and then we can start to paint it on. All right, Kim is saying that the print is done. So you're gonna come over here, Kim. You're gonna, oh, yep, there it is. Open the lid up for me.
I'm gonna need gloves for this part though, right?
No, not necessarily.
No? Okay.
So you'll unlock it with the red switch. Yep, rotate it counterclockwise. Don't touch your hand under there, it'll get dirty.
Oh,
There
can
you
I
go.
hold it by there?
So I like to grab it like this. So if it's locked, I'll like rotate this and then grab it with my hand and pull it out.
Okay.
So I'll let you do that. Yep, grab the whole thing, pull it out, flip it over. Bam! Look at that, now squeegee all that excess off back into there, yep. That's expensive. 3 tanks of that, just got the bill, it's about $4,000. It's terrible. Yep, looking good.
Am I doing that good? Okay.
Now, go ahead and put that over into the wash.
I'll just flip it.
Yep, flip it over. And then hit
You don't
continue.
show that. Continue.
And
This is
start.
tricky. Where's it start? Oh,
Yeah, usually I like to get a paper towel out because
I should have had that.
now you know. Now you know. Nice work.
I'm dripping everywhere.
Nice work. So this is just a quick little vlog about 3D printing and dentistry and what we're doing at our office. It's really amazing. There's a whole other side to this as far as design goes. The design field is very, very complicated. Like when I take a 3D scan of the inside of somebody's mouth, there's so many different things I can do with it, like extract teeth and make dentures and copy a tooth from here and put it over there, build teeth on implants, all sorts of stuff. And I've been training myself on how to do it for like the past 4 years and probably invested over 6 figures into this stuff just because I don't know, I'm kind of a nerd about computers and CAD and learning. And it's just a great thing to be able to do for my patients because the same day we can get them in something that they're really happy with and we don't have to rely on a lab or something like that. So if you guys have any questions about 3D printing and dentistry, shoot me an email. I'd love to answer your questions and we'll see you on the next video at the office.